Welcome back to Perfect Pour. I'm your host and spirit medium, Terry Collins. My favorite part of the program, we get to talk taste. And with me to do so tonight is our director and producer, Jerry Donahue, and we're going to talk bargain bourbons. Okay, now we're going to roll into Four Roses, our next offering in our bargain bourbon segment.
Four Roses small batch. Four Roses owned by Kirin, yes, the Japanese company. For many years was a blended whiskey, very inexpensive, not highly regarded, but they sent the good stuff to Japan. And after Kirin bought them, my understanding is they stopped shipping it, did an overhaul, got rid of the blended whiskey, and brought it back to its original recipes. Of course, there is the base expression of Four Roses, which is just, I think they call the yellow label. Next up is the small batch, this one, and then from there you go to the single barrel, and every year
there's quite a variety of those.
They release those special single barrels that have many different recipes, different mash bills, different yeasts.
Quite exciting.
Yeah. But there is also just the base single barrel, which I'm not sure which mash bill they use on that one. But that's usually priced around $40. This is priced, I believe, around $25, $26, $27. So a good bargain.
And again, it's small batch, and I mentioned small batch earlier, and small batch means they pull a limited number of barrels, blend them together to get what they want to represent in their taste for this blend, this label.
Yeah, for this expression, they basically blend what it's made from under 100, but
yes,
something like that.
There's no real definition for what small batch means, but generally it's less than 100 barrels are involved in the production of this. They choose those barrels and they'll marry them. They'll take them and marry them to get the flavor profile they want for this expression.
The nose on this is so much different from me than the Larceny or the Buffalo Trace. I get cola, toffee, vanilla. There's a little bit of alcohol in there.
I get my alcohol, for sure. I do get the toffee. I still get, it reminds me of the rare book room at the library in college. There's something about that. It's the aging, I think, that's coming through. I definitely get the ammonia, as I mentioned. I typically get that from bourbons. And this, I believe, runs in at 90 proof.
Yeah, is that what it is?
I believe that's right.
We can double check that. Yes, 90 proof.
And again, we've added water, and this can stand up to that.
Now, there is some rye in there, but obviously not as much.
Again, I'd guess this is midpoint, maybe 5-6 years.
Yeah, or maybe they take some older barrels and blend it with some younger barrels.
And they can certainly do that, yes. They're in their 100 barrels, they are free. They have free reign over what they choose. And the master distiller, of course, is going for what he thinks should be the definitive flavor for this expression.
I get a very balanced palate. Little bit of rye, sweetness, all kind of averaging out. A little bit of burn, but not too much.
It's a very even coating, as you said, and there is an oiliness to this. I think that it coats your tongue very well, so you get a full range of flavors all across your tongue.
And I think that really lends to a longer palate because of the oiliness of it.
It clings.
This coating, yeah, and it makes it last.
Which again is something very nice. If you're talking about getting bang for your buck, you want to get something, you want to get the most out of it, and one way to do that is to have something that has a long flavor, something that stays with you, something you can think about or not. And this is one where I think you could actually use it because it's so balanced.
Yeah.
This would also be good as a mixer. If you want to spend the money to come into this price range and use it as a mixer, this would be a very fair one to do that with. But I think it also stands on its own.
So what are your overall thoughts on this one?
As with all of these, it's just exciting that you've got this price range and you've got this much variety. And this is one it's different from Buffalo Trace in that it's got the rye, but it's a more even flavor. It's not that point of your tongue sort of attack. And it's different from the Larceny because it doesn't have the wheat, and the Larceny was a more limited, although very different. This one is much wider. I think it would also be very accessible to someone who's just coming into these sorts of bourbons. I'm very pleased with it.
This is a favorite of mine. I really enjoy the Four Roses small batch. I think its balance of flavors, with it not being too rye heavy, is very attractive to me. The oiliness and the way that kind of flavor lasts on the finish is very enjoyable for me. So I think this one is a very good bang for the buck.